Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 17 of the 72 review. Before we get straight into this live stream, I will already apologise for myself and Jake. We're under the weather at the minute, so any coughing and spluttering, we do apologise for that.
We will try and mute it as much as we can.
Yeah, but I think Ian is the only one off of the panel which is fit and healthy at the minute. So
I won't go that far. Probably a bit better than you two.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But it's nice to get the panel back together, and we're going to be talking through all three divisions. The Championship has started once again after the winter shutdown, and then obviously League One and League Two continued as normal. Well, as pretty much as normal as it could over the last couple of weeks. So if you are new to this, get your comments in, and that kind of drives the conversation as well. We'll go through as many as we can. But if you are new, we'll introduce the panel. I'm 18 Dapper. If you haven't already, please subscribe to me. But below me, we've got Ian Bradley. If you tell the viewers who you are and what you do, mate.
Yep, I'm an old man, 60 plus, Villa season ticket holder and Rotherham fan for about 50 years. I also do a sideline vlog on Over the Bar, which is it's a vlog really specifically for the lower two divisions. But yesterday I did one from the New York Stadium for the Bristol City game. So check it out if you can. And just general football fan.
Decent stuff. Link to Over the Bar is in the description down below. And then next to me is Jake, PunkChef41. Let everybody know who you are and what you do, mate.
So I am, once I can find it, PunkChef41, and it says on the back. PunkChef41, Sheffield Wednesday fan channel as such. Didn't mean to be one. It just happened. People like me talking absolute rubbish about Wednesday, so I just carried on. Been doing it for a while now. Love doing it. And I also do a podcast called Talking Wednesday podcast where we talk about all things Wednesday. And yeah, and it's been a week. Let's put it that way.
And for me, it's the only Sheffield Wednesday podcast that you need to go and listen to.
Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated.
Nice one.
That's no digs at
BBC Sheffield plug theirs.
As I said, get your comments in and we'll go through as many. Liz is in the chat. Evening, boys. Missed Jake last week, so it's nice to have the panel back. Thanks to Gabriel
for
stepping in and giving his expertise last week, but it's nice to have the normal starting three.
It's only because you missed this. Oh no!
We've got ATID in the chat as well. Don't know what I've done in the past life. Fan who's English.
Tell me about it.
We can all relate with that, mate, for sure. And to be fair, I think that's a good place to start. Before we get into the EFL, let's say a few words about England, because we did get dumped out of the World Cup yesterday. Me personally, I kind of half expected it. France were a good team, but I've seen a lot on social media about Gareth Southgate. It's time to go. For me, I think he should stay. I think we've got a feeling around the club, well, the country, that we've not had in a long time. I think we've had relative success over the last couple of tournaments, and to be fair, I think the game yesterday was probably one of the best I've seen us play in terms of against a top team in France. So I think one more tournament for me for Southgate. That's my own thoughts. We'll go with Ian. What are your thoughts on it?
To be honest, in my opinion, there shouldn't be any recriminations. I think the team played really well. I think the manager, in general, got his tactics right. There might be one or two tweaks, and I would have preferred Rashford to come on earlier than he did, probably for Foden, who wasn't as effective. But generally, yes, I'd like Southgate to stay. I do. I think we're a killer instinct away from winning a major tournament, and I think that's the crux of the matter. We don't yet have that killer instinct to finish teams off. I mean, I thought we were the better side for probably the entire 95 minutes last night. We didn't get any help off the officials, but being EFL fans, I think we're all used to that. And I think it was a very good tournament, and I think people jumping on Southgate's back is not the right attitude to take, really. I think the team did really well, and we should be proud of them.
I'd agree with that. Jake, a few words on England, mate.
For me, Southgate, he's still building something. Still right. He does need to go for sometimes a slightly more attacking option when he can do. He does tend to go defensive. It's what we said when we got to that final last time. It's now a little bit here, but that's something you can do if you bring in another coach or two or something. My issue is Harry Kane isn't really the striker he was. We need to start looking at bringing in some younger players. And the one thing for me is that they're very proud of what they've done. And much I've seen it all over the place, what Jude Bellingham did when Kane missed was huge. A 19-year-old lad going to his senior captain to console him when no one else did says a lot about him. But don't start talking about him being next England captain. Leave him to do what he's doing. Don't come to the Premier League. Stay in the Bundesliga. Learn your trade.
I agree.
Come when you're 22, 23. Learn your trade a bit. Don't go to Man City. Don't go to Man United. You want to go to like a Liverpool if they still got a Klopp. You want to go to someone like maybe a Chelsea if they get it right. If Man United could be the right step if they get new ownership and everything goes right. You go to Man City, you'll learn a lot, but has it done wonders for the likes of Calvin Phillips yet? Not really. You just to see your players. I think for me, if you're going to go somewhere, it's got to be to the right club. And I think
he needs to be a star, doesn't he? Not one of the backup cast, really.
Yeah.
I think he should stop at Dortmund for at least another 2 seasons.
Oh, definitely. He's a very good player, but don't do what we do as English fans and put him on the pedestal. That they're amazing. We've done that with Jadon Sancho. Look where he is now.
Yeah, we put that fire out, don't we? We put too much pressure on them at a young age. They need to know and learn who they are and what they're about first. We've got Dino in the chat. Evening, Dino. Hope you are well.
Hey, Dino, mate.
I think it's safe to say that we're all absolutely gutted that we got knocked out. There's always that belief. It drags you in, doesn't it, where you think it's coming home this time, and it's not an expectation. I see a lot of Irish, Scottish, Welsh Twitter accounts saying that we're an entitled fan base. I never go into a tournament thinking that we're going to win the tournament, but as the tournament progresses, you always get that belief. And I feel for the Scottish because I've never had that getting into a tournament, actually believing that they're going to get into the
also. Can people stop comparing the England women team and England men teams? Just give up. Like the
women need to be celebrated for their own successes.
They celebrated their own stuff. It was superb. Stop putting them on pedestals. At the end of the day, yes, the England women will feel as gutted as we do, the England men team, as how the England men team felt ecstatic for the England women team. There's no his and hers against each other.
Yeah.
They both play for the same sodding country.
Well said. I agree with that.
Well said, yeah.
Dino saying that Bellingham should stay in Germany as long as possible, stay away from the Premiership.
Agreed.
And that's what we do on this show. We stay away from the Premiership as well. So I think that's a good. I think that's a good mark to start in the Championship. Obviously, it's had a couple of weeks off, so we will give the floor to Ian. Obviously, his vlog is up on Over the Bar, so go and watch that after you've watched the stream. But talk us through it, mate. A 3-1 defeat at home.
Well, in conclusion, it was a bad day at the office, but it didn't start badly for us at all. I thought we were very competitive in the first half. Both teams had chances. Bristol City came out not to park the bus, which I half expected a Nigel Pearson side to do, but they came at us. We came at them. It was a very watchable first half with chances at both ends. Unfortunately, we found ourselves 2-1 down at the break through a couple of pieces of really comedy defending. I mean, Richard Wood didn't get it at their player before he crossed it, and then West Harding had just had a rush of blood. Instead of controlling it and clearing it, he just swung his foot at it straight past Johansson, 1-0.
Good finish.
Then we got back into it. Brooke Norton, Cuffy, great ball in from the right-hand side, and Ogbeni and Mark just nodded it in from about 2 inches, one apiece. And then straight away, and you're always vulnerable when you've just scored, we conceded again. Again, really bad defending from us. I think it was Conway that crossed the ball. Johansson flapped at it and it just hit Williams on the knee and went in. It was tapping 2-1. So And then we tried to get back into it. Dan Barlas had a shot that was saved. We had forced a couple of corners. So we were 2-1 down at half time, probably a little bit unluckily to be 2-1 down. Second half, completely different. We weren't at the races at all. We were second to every ball. We never won a header. Bristol City scored a third about on the hour mark. Another crossing from the left, not marked properly. Free header, 3-1. And we never really looked like getting back into it. We didn't build up a head of steam. We put Connor Washington and Georgie Kelly on to try and bolster the attack. But by that time, the Bristol City backline had our number. They were just blocking everything, crossing everything, heading everything out. And they ran out comfortable 3-1 winners. Absolutely no complaints at all. But we did look very, very ring rusty after the break. Hopefully, with a full week of training here instead of Cyprus, where we did as warm weather training, it might galvanise us a little bit. One mitigating factor, I'm not running this through as an excuse, but we have had an illness bug run through the camp. Richard Wood didn't look right, and obviously, and we missed Cameron Humphreys and Grant Hall, two of our three centre backs who were unavailable. They weren't even on the bench. They were ill, and both of those would have played, I would have thought, in place of Lee Peltier and Richard Wood. So it is a little bit of a mitigating factor. But our midfield, Barlaser, Wiles, Lindsay and Rathbone, they just weren't at the races, and they normally are. They're normally on it. But when you have your four key midfielders all having poor games, there's only one outcome.
Yeah.
So, we lost 3-1. No complaints at all.
The one thing I was going to say, because I've seen it on Twitter this week because it's been posted, and I know it happened in like October 2022, but Georgie Kelly has got a master's in renewable energy and environmental finance.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
It's one of those things when people think all footballers are thick, and then they go and do something like that, and you go, in what? But fair play to him to getting a master, because that's not easy to do. But I think it's one of those ones. I think you're going to see a lot of teams rusty in this championship.
Yeah.
While they get back. And as much as it's probably been good for some of them, some of them are not going to like it. Yeah. Don't worry, I've got medicine.
But to be fair, Ian, looking at the stats, you've had more of the ball, you've created chances, not many on target.
Yes, yeah. But most of those chances were in the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but absolutely no complaints. Bristol City worthy winners.
Yeah. Hopefully back to winning ways sooner rather than later.
We've got the Hawthorns next week as well. And West Brom have sort of woken up a little bit. So
yeah, see how they do tomorrow.
Should be difficult.
You were a little bit worried, even when you had Paul Warne, about how you would react after this break. And now you've got someone new who's got new ideas. It's like, are these new ideas here quick enough or not?
Well, to be quite honest, I mean, he's trying to alter the way we're playing. He's trying to pass his way through the thirds, and these players aren't used to it yet.
No,
I'm not saying they haven't got the ability to do it, but they're not used to it yet.
But you do have a transfer window to get those players in. So
of course we have, yeah.
Really good.
And Tony Stewart said he's going to back Matt Taylor. To what extent, we don't know yet.
Believe it when you see it, Ian.
January will be pivotal to our survival chances, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Maybe warm weather training didn't help as well to come back to.
No, I don't think it did.
If you just stayed it here in the snow.
Yeah.
ATID's come in to the chat and said that England were easily the best team of the tournament, done over by 12 men when it mattered. Yeah, refereeing performance wasn't great. You mentioned Rotherham a little bit rusty after the break. I think it's worth mentioning Blackburn Rovers.
I have no idea what that Blackburn Rovers team were. I watched this game. They were awful. Whatever they've been doing over this break, they haven't been playing football. That is a matter of fact, because he looked shocking. It's like, this is the problem with this break. I said some teams are going to benefit from it and other teams are just going to plummet. And whatever Ryan Lowe's done during that break, he'd done the world of good. They look like a team that's ready to go up now. They just played some outstanding football. And for whatever it's worth, Ryan Lowe is starting to get a tune out of these players all of a sudden.
Without a doubt.
He got
I mean, Preston, to be quite honest, they've always been very solid defensively, but they're looking like an attacking threat now. And Blackburn, oh my Lord! I mean, I didn't expect that at all. That's a really bad result, and it will have hurt the Rovers fans as well, getting 4-1 by a near neighbour as well.
Yeah,
it's not nice, is it? And that also took away a 6-game winning run at Ewood Park, so it just shows the break a little bit like an international break. Sometimes you're in a really good vein of form coming into an international break, and then that comes and then it just goes. But
good again. Because at one point, Bradley Dackwood talked about being a really good world-beating player. But if they lead Diaz in January, it could happen again.
It could,
I think they're in trouble.
Yeah.
They don't draw games though, Blackburn, do they? They just win them or lose them.
Yeah. There's no middle ground, is there?
No.
They're in a very good position though. They're just outside of the top 2. But like you say, Rovers fans they'll be feeling this result, and then to have watched England later on as well. It's not been a good Saturday for them. Klaxon's already gone off for Ben Whiteman. Yeah, we massively missed that. The Rovers' ability to just pop up at the edge of the box. I'm
not going to lie. When Whiteman went and then when Moore went, you knew the writing was on the cards.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Game over. Well, no, great result for Preston there. It's pulled them into the top 6. Any other games in the Championship that you guys want to talk about before we?
There's one. There's one. The Stoke Cardiff game.
Wow.
Did either of you guys or anybody in the chat? Did they ever see the penalty incident that wasn't given?
Yep.
No.
Oh, it was a stonewall, 120% penalty. Absolutely, it was travesty that it wasn't given. I'd have been on the pitch if that hadn't been given for us. It was so obvious.
I've not seen it, mate. How did it go down? What was it a bad tackle? Was it handball?
It was a foul, and it was in the area, and the referee just waved play on. What did you think, Jake?
I agree with what you're saying, mate. It was a blatant foul, and it's one of those things. If that's given, it's a different game.
Yeah, because Stoke had gone 3-1 up. I know Alex Neil was absolutely apoplectic on his post-match.
He'll get a fine now, I know.
Probably, yeah.
So before we move on from that, question to Ian first. Obviously, we interview managers after games. We interview players after games. Do you think referees should be put?
I think referees should be far more accountable. Yeah, I think referees should be far more accountable and be made to sort of explain the decisions in the press. Because at the moment, well, for the last 30 years, they can ruin seasons for clubs. They can have a bearing on a manager's managerial situation, and there's absolutely no recriminations whatsoever. And I think that needs to change.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. What about you, Jake?
For me, I'm all for miking refs up like they do in rugby.
Yes.
I want to mic them up. Because if you do that, you'll hear the decision, you'll hear it. You get 100% accountability. The managers then get 100% accountability. And then you get a clear picture. Because you don't see many referees having to come out and say after rugby game because he's heard it all.
Yeah.
Because if they go, they've made him mistake. I think they do it in Australia league. I think they do it in an MLS. There's some leagues that do it.
I think it leads to more respect from players to referees as well.
Agreed.
It'll also show you how much a shit out some players are to referees.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think if you mic them up, the problem is with them coming out and saying something at the game, they can go. You've either got to get them as soon as they're getting off the pitch before they get an FA handler on them.
Yeah.
Because an FA handler could turn around and go, or an EFL handler go, you can't say this, you can't say this, you got to say this. You have to get them straight away. And I think that's the problem.
I mean, if it is brought in, it would need to be negotiated and a rule book set up for what you can and can't do for players and the referee and everybody else. But yeah, it's a great idea.
I only have one request. Ian Holloway, the one that gets to interview him.
Or Steve Evans.
Or Neil Warnock. You've got to get the grumpy old men brigade and manager. That's who's allowed to interview him. That's it.
Dino was asked a question in the chat as well. What's our opinion on the player who dived and admitted it in an interview today? I've not seen that either. But
I've not seen that.
If he's admitted it in the interview, then you fine him.
I think he should get at least a 5-match ban for that.
Yeah,
but I think that's football now. I think if you're going through and you feel a slight touch and you throw yourself down, it's like you've got to make the most of it to get a decision.
Dan, there's a difference. There's a difference between doing it and then
admitting it.
And then admitting it. If you're admitting it, it's a completely different story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you said, yeah, I took a dive. I think it's one to think that if you're going to admit it, the problem is he's now got a target on his back from every single referee now.
Yeah.
He will not get a decision go his way. And he screwed himself now.
Yeah. Retrospective action would be nice. Like reviewing red cards. They should be able to review stuff like that and issue a booking or something like that.
You'll keep VAR away from EFL.
Yeah, please. We don't want that. The only game that I wanted to touch on in the Championship was Sheffield United against Huddersfield.
I'm going to go now. Bye.
Obviously, Billy Sharp still doing the business. And
what a finish as well.
It was a good goal. I'm not gonna lie.
And this win helped extend that gap between second and third after Blackburn.
Do we think Huddersfield are down?
Yeah, all but.
I've put in my notes, I think this is one of the first nails or very early nail in the coffin for Huddersfield. They're only 5 points off of 21st, so they're not dead and buried yet.
They're not dead and buried, but I would think they've got very few assets there at Huddersfield, and I think Sober Thomas is one of them. And I can't see him being there in January.
How much that just killed me to have to play that.
But no, good result for Sheffield United, which, like I say, extends that gap between third and second. And it's a damaging result for Huddersfield. And like Ian says, not many assets there, which might not be there come the end of January. And if they're not, I think the writing's on the wall for them this season.
The only person that will be happy about the Huddersfield thing going down will be my co-host Dex, because he kind of said Jordan Rowe going there, they're not going to stay up.
There we go.
Yeah.
So a quick look at the table before we move on to League One. That shows Huddersfield's current predicament. 19 points, rock bottom. Blackpool next on 23 points, and West Brom, who play tomorrow. Is it at Sunderland? Yes.
Yeah.
Away at Sunderland.
Yeah.
They dropped into the bottom three with Wigan drawing at Millwall.
I will say though that Blackpool were very, very, very lucky to get a point against Birmingham.
Yeah.
Because Birmingham absolutely battered them, and they had a dubious disallowed goal where the linesman said that the Birmingham player was in front of the goalkeeper's eye line. I don't buy that at all. Birmingham should have won, and Blackpool were hanging on virtually from the first whistle, but they've got a point, so there you go.
Yeah. I got a quick message to Cardiff City fans and their team. Mark McGuinness, he needs another year in League One. You just need to get better. Please don't recall him.
Yeah.
He's had a week off and toys are back out.
Yeah.
Moving towards the top of the table, a good result for Burnley today. Reinstates their 3-point lead at the top of the table. Sheffield United in second, 5 points ahead of Blackburn in third. And then the playoffs are made up by Norwich, Watford and Preston sneak in there with a great 4-1 result at Blackburn.
You look at from 10th onwards, I would say 11th to a point. Anyone could get that playoff position.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, it's still tight, isn't it?
Apart from probably QPR, who are dropping like a stone.
Depending who they're getting as manager, though.
Yeah.
Beale going to Rangers has really done them really badly because they had something built in. He did always say if they came in, he would be gone. It's who they appoint now. And the problem is, the last couple of seasons, you've been thinking, if they get that appointment right, they're going to be up there. Well, they got it right, but he's a Rangers man. And he knew whenever they came in, he was gone. If they don't get this appointment right, they will plummet. And it'll be a shame because they've had a cracking season.
Yeah, them and Swansea, horrible runs of form, haven't they? Last 5.
Yeah.
Not won a game in 10 between them. Horrible. But very, very tight. We will now move on to League One. Jake, Exeter against Sheff Wednesday. Talk us through this one, mate.
Exeter were the much better team. The stats don't say well. But they were the better team. We looked a little bit lackluster. We've gone on a bit where we're not playing well, but we're getting results, if that makes sense. And that's going to be a change. The big worry for this was Bannon went off injured in the first half, and it looks like it's a hamstring injury. Now, the only saving grace, if it is a long-term thing, it's 3 weeks till the window opens. We can go and get another replacement just in case, because Joe Byers at the minute is struggling. We've got Icky's out till like March. We're having real bad injury issues at the minute.
Yeah.
And the goal was all due to us passing the ball to them and them just taking it and shooting. What I don't get is this whole playing out from the back. It does my head in. Yes, if you've got the people to do it, go do it. We don't. We give the ball away. Give me a minute.
Paul had dying.
Yeah, tell me about it. Stockdale passes it about like a ninny at times. He's not built for playing it out from the back. He's built for hitting it long. Ironically, 94-minute goal was a long ball played upfield, knocked down by Gregory to Patterson, goal. Patterson, and Patterson's rumoured to be wanting to. Hearts are wanting him in January. Now, the thing is, if he goes, we don't have another Patterson. Wilkes still isn't ready yet.
He's very important for Wednesday, is Patterson. Very important.
He's another one of these players like Atinuku. Once he's gone, people are going to be going, we need a Atinuku or we need a Patterson. When he's here, they don't see what he does. What Patterson does is he works his backside off, gets in people's face, wind people up. And that's what you want. You want that. And the problem is he's 28, 29, and he wants to be playing week in, week out. And I know it's very hard to not like play Smith and Gregory and whatnot, but he got to play. He adds something. When Wilt came on, it did something. But our big myth is going to be Bannon if it's a long term.
Of course.
But the big one for me was Liam Palmer playing at right wing back. He ran that touch line all day long. Made such a difference. Now, if you don't know, Liam Palmer during the summer ran 10K every day for Aaron Jude's kid. And it made him a better player because he's fitter, he's stronger. And the one thing you'll get from Palmer, he'll give you 100%.
Oh, yeah.
He'll run through brick walls. Now,
I've always liked him myself. I've always thought him as right wing backs go. I think he's one of the best.
Not bad to say he started as a midfielder.
Yeah.
What we need now is we need someone to step up in that squad. Derby game, we've not won at Derby. We never won at Exeter. So it could be a case of two bogey teams that we're just not that great again.
Yeah. I do believe in him. I do.
Exeter, I think there's enough in there for a playoff run. They're a good team.
Good side. Yeah.
Thing is, Jake, with these away games, like you say, you've never won at Derby in God knows how long. You've not won at Exeter for the same amount of time, if not longer, and you've gained points. And in games where you've not played particularly well. So do you think that's building emotional kind of mentality?
Last season we would have lost this 100%. We wouldn't have been able to get back into it. The fact that we're trying to grind results out shows you a difference in the team.
That might be the difference come the end of the season.
Yeah.
Moving on to one of the other few games that did get played in League 1 and 2, there were a lot of postponements. We'll go to Cambridge against Plymouth because ATID is currently in the chat. He's been waiting for this. He said, we usually lose at Cambridge, but not being able to score against a team leaking goals for fun is just poor. Cannot wait for this season to end. We'll be lucky to get playoffs. 2 more injuries to add. Miller,
I heard about that.
What happened when you rely on loans and injury-prone freebies? Cannot stand this club. At times we won't spend in January. Don't have the money to do anything of note. So from a really positive start for Plymouth, it seems to have
it's stalling
like it did last season, and hopefully this run and this rot stops, because it'd be nice to see Plymouth succeed.
But having said that, an away point's an away point.
Yeah, and especially against a team like ATID, you've said last week in the chat that you're expecting to get beat because you never get anything at Cambridge. So same as we've just said
it's
to
a
Jake,
positive, isn't it?
Historically, you don't
do 10 to 12 weeks.
10 to 12
What about the Miller? Is it Mikel Miller that signed from us?
I think it might be,
because he was very injury prone at Rotherham. Although he's real quality when you can get him fitting on the pitch.
I'd be worried about Morgan Wicketer for them if Swansea decide they suddenly want him back. Where your goal coming from? If Croco goes, where your goal coming from? I said it at the start of the season, they don't score enough. And I always said when that first loss came in at home, it would be interesting to see how they bounce. Now, they didn't lose. That is the big thing. But look at that one shot on target. Says a lot.
Not good reading, is it?
No. And the thing is, where Plymouth are, when I'm in a WhatsApp group with lots of Plymouth fans, and it's all Plymouth fans, actually. Argyle Way, they're a good podcast. If you want to go have a listen about Plymouth, they're very good. But if you talk to them, they're like, we can't do this, we can't do this. And there's that mentality that they know what's happening to a point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they've been told they're not going to spend, they're going to struggle because they've already used all 5 loans. Now, if they go back, granted, it could happen. You've got to get them to get fit and get in. I think this is the problem with a team like Plymouth when they're not predicted to do where they are, and when they get to those heights and they start dropping.
And also, a move down there is a hard sell, isn't it, really, for any prospective signings?
Why do you think they always get a lot of French players?
Yeah.
It's across the channel. It's an easy... yeah. It's that whole thing. It's a hard sell to Plymouth because you've got to then turn around to play and have the right mentality. Look, we've got to travel to Wednesday today, or we've got to travel to wherever. Like when it was Sunderland, you've got to turn around when Sunderland there. You've got to tell a Plymouth player, right, we're going to Sunderland. How long?
Yeah, it's a long old way.
You've got to be a different mentality to know that those are your away trips. Because it's a long slog. Also, before I forget, credit to Exeter ground staff yesterday. Their pitch was superb. There was no doubt of that being called off. They did a fantastic job on that. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Plymouth. If they can't sign players, they're going to have to use their youth academy. Now, problem is you don't want to rely on youth.
ATID. We say that as a joke, but our local derby is effectively French when Exeter aren't in our league.
Yeah, true enough.
Well, no, it's not a bad point, but it's not a great point because obviously missing out on 3 points has dropped them from first with Ipswich beating Peterborough. But I think the result for me that I wanted to talk about in League One was Shrewsbury against Bolton.
Shade away.
Yeah.
He's a man mountain. I miss him at Wednesday because he's bloody good. And we signed him when he had a broken tibia and we never saw the best out of him.
Thing is, Bolton got told about Shrewsbury's prowess on set pieces, and
you've got to give Steve Cotterill a lot of credit for what he's doing there.
He doesn't get enough.
He doesn't. I mean, they're a good side. They're a good, strong side.
Very good.
And I can see him not probably the playoffs, but I can see him in the top half of the table easily.
Yeah, comfortable season.
And poor old Mr. Everett again. It does really break my heart when the best team in League One lose. You know, it really does. I do shed a tear or two. Yeah, but Dunkley scored 3 goals this season. And apparently they've all been late winners in 3-2 wins.
Yeah.
He's very good. The thing is, he's very good in the air.
Yeah.
We signed him when he was coming back from injury, and I think that's what screwed us because we never saw the best Shea Dunkley. I think when you sign a player that's already injured, you're always playing second fiddle to try and get them back to where they are.
Yeah,
The
you're running that risk as well, aren't you?
The thing is, he's getting a good game. Then I'm very happy for you because he was always a good player for us, always a good servant, never really had a bad word, and it's just nice to see him playing well. But he's a very good player.
Yeah, but a good result for Shrewsbury. Like Ian says, I think it's going to be a very comfortable season for them. And Cotterill's doing a decent job there. ATID's come into the chat. 2 points against Burton and Cambridge is absolutely shocking for a team who want the championship. Yeah, I can't really argue against that.
Yeah, calm down, lad. Calm down, ATID. You're all right. Don't worry.
It's a long season, mate.
Yeah.
What you've got to think, though, is the mitigating circumstances. If you come up against Burton and Cambridge with a full strength squad, I think you'd be winning them both of those games, whereas you've been absolutely decimated by injuries. So I wouldn't be too disheartened by it.
No, I hope the club have got some good mental health people in because that first loss at home will be a killer.
Yeah,
definitely. Any other games that you guys want to touch on before we have a look at the League One table?
Yeah, definitely. Just one. MK Dons.
Yeah,
they've got rid of Manning, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
After another home defeat, it's not looking good. Not looking good at all.
I think if they don't get this right, they're probably down. I think they may already be down.
I do. I think the mentality of the club and the toxicity of the fan base. I mean, I've looked at one or two posts that Dons fans have, and they're not happy bunnies at all. I think there's something wrong there from the top downwards, from Winkleman downwards.
Yeah.
Something doesn't seem right. I think last season they had a lot of hope and promise, and I think they were expecting to build on that. And then they've not spent pretty much hardly any of the money they got for the players they sold. And I think that's what will have really done the heads in of other the fans. Fair play to Fleetwood, though. They are being this team that do 90th minute winners for Limbs.
Oh, they're good at it. I mean, look at that. 2 shots on target, 2 goals. That's efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'm not looking forward to playing them. I'm not looking forward to playing them on Boxing Day.
No. Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Jake. We MK Dons. I think the expectation this season was like up here.
Yeah.
And obviously the down here. So
again, you lose your goal scorer in Twine and set creator, and then you lose Harley Darling at back. What do you expect?
Big holes to fill, aren't they?
I feel for them because they're gonna be that whole thing where people are gonna go, you don't feel for them because they are
yeah,
okay,
that's true.
Nice one.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
And Lizzie
I think he's 53
as well, saying that the situation at MK reminds her of us last season, which it does for sure. So moving on to the table, we'll start at the bottom, and there's a gap opening up, isn't there, between Morecambe, MK Dons, Burton, and the rest.
Green could actually get out of this.
Yeah, good result that.
To be fair, no team down here is cut adrift yet, but it is a big gap to start clawing back at this stage of the season, isn't it? We're not quite at the halfway point, but the table pretty much settles down by this point.
Charlton will be the one to be worried about. They just sacked their manager for God knows whatever reason. Their owner's a mentalist.
Yeah, off the seems a bit of a mess, doesn't it?
Yeah. Why go get him in the summer and then sack him in December? Where you're not.
I think there's enough quality there at the Valley to. I don't think they'll go down. I don't.
I think it's more at the minute of what's going off the pitch than it is on the pitch. Yes, it's not great, but if that toxicity starts coming from off the pitch onto the pitch and turns into players' mentality, it could be a different. Fair play to Accrington Stanley as well. The referee for that one called it off the day before, so no one had to travel. I like that. I think
I do as well.
Become more often. Use your head.
And at least Pompey didn't lose.
Yeah.
But we mentioned in the Championship there were 2 teams, QPR and another, who had not won a game in 10. Remind me, who was it?
Go
on. Swansea.
Swansea, yeah. Yeah.
You look down at the bottom here, Burton, MK Dons and Morecambe in their run of form. Not a win in 15 between them.
No.
It's not
Yeah,
great, is
10 points from 15 games from them three.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, Morecambe are up for sale at a minute as well.
Yeah.
Damaging results for those down at the bottom of League One. But moving towards the top of
Quick
League
question
One.
for you, lad, before we go to the top. Are you seeing the plans for Oxford Stadium? The new stadium they want to build? Where they want to put it, it looks like it's only going to have 3 sides.
Again?
Yeah.
Joking, aren't you?
No, the place where it is, it looks like they're going to have 3 sides. It's weird.
They must like it.
On the fourth side.
Yeah, 3 stands in a car park.
Bizarre. I'll have to have a look at that. But yeah, towards the top end of the table, very tight coming into the playoff picture. We've got Sheffield Wednesday just behind Plymouth and Ipswich in the top 2. But the playoffs are made up of Barnsley, Bolton, and Peterborough just hanging in there with Derby.
We need to start winning again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're
creeping.
Yeah, you've got a good gap between yourselves and Barnsley.
But I've just noticed how many games in hand has Pompey got?
Yep.
Crikey Moses.
They won't win them.
Get some.
No, I know they'll draw them. They'll draw them. That's what they'll do.
Big respect as well for Exeter and Port Vale. Look where they are.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Teams that would come up, and Bristol Rovers, yeah. Teams that have come up and just having a nice little time.
Yeah.
Who else came up? Forest Green, weren't it?
Yeah. 21st.
Yeah, and they were champions, weren't they, Forest Green?
They were indeed.
Very, very good season for them 3 so far.
It'll be interesting to see if Ipswich can keep up this form now, because out of the top 3, it's us and Ipswich who can bend.
Yeah.
If what ATID said they can't bend, that could be damaging.
Barnsley
will bend. Bolton will bend. I think Peterborough probably might be the next manager get sacked.
Yeah, called 4 defeats out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a shout, that, Jake, to be fair.
And Derby can't bend.
No, they can't. No.
So
because if Derby could spend, one would have half our midfield. That's absolutely certain of that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Wickham come back into it a little bit.
Nah.
They got a bit of a run for them.
To be fair, Ainsworth's been linked with QPR job, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's second time he's been linked, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll see if that materialises this time or not. But yeah,
I hope so, because Guy will be all over him on bloody championship games. He'll do my head in.
But it's not looking too bad for Chef Wednesday in this.
I'm happy with it, to be fair.
You've got to be.
The thing is, there's still a portion of our fans who still want more out, or out why they picked him and stuff, and it's going to be the same old. But at the end of the day,
I mean, an average of 2 points a game, that's promotion form. That's absolutely, that's what you want, 2 points a game.
And I think we've got a fan base who want what they're seeing now. They're just seeing the football side of it. It's ugly football, it's not great. It's like, look where we are in the league. I could understand if we were 13th, 15th or something, it's still not going right, but we're still getting points on the board. And that's what it's all about. And if people can't see that, they need to get their head out of their ass.
Yeah, just keep chipping away at it, mate. That's all you can do. So that's League One and the Championship rounded up. There's not much to say about League Two, really. Plenty of games called off due to the weather. So I think for this one, because we're hurtling up towards the 45th minute of this stream.
Nearly half time.
Nah, it's nearly full time, mate. I've got to have my dinner and get to bed. Probably just go through Donny and maybe one other game. There wasn't many to choose from though, but obviously didn't get down to Newport yesterday. It was the staff.
I did like people going, are they going to let us postpone it? Are they? Hell, the Welsh.
I was on the Newport County podcast last week, and I got asked that question about it being postponed for the football, and I don't think it's an English Welsh thing. It may have played a part, in all honesty, but I think calling it off so close to the game. I know games got called off because of frozen pitches and stuff, but I think when you've got the ability to play the game, people have made travel arrangements, have booked hotels, this, that, and other.
Definitely.
I honestly think it was the right decision to play the game, and I'm glad they did because we won 1-0.
Yep.
So we'll take it. But yeah, I think from what I've seen and what I've read, Donny had the better of the game.
Yeah.
Forced the game a little bit, had a number of decent opportunities. There was a couple of half chances for Newport throughout the game as well, which we dealt with fairly well. A long throw with a header that got knocked on, and then the header after that went over the bar. But I think overall, pretty much in control from everything that I've read and seen.
Good strike as well from Noyle.
Yeah, good goal from Noyle. He's picked the ball up in his own half and just driven with it, run at the defence, and nobody wanted to touch him. It looked like his pass across to the right was probably a little bit heavy, but the ball's made it back to him. He's controlled it, got it out of his feet, and just hammered it past the keeper, and it was a lovely goal to win it. So
the inconsistency must frustrate the hell out of you.
Yeah,
it is, but I think we've said it numerous times on here. We should have come out and said that it was consolidation season.
You should.
Promotion, but having said that, we're still not a million miles away from the playoffs.
Oh no, you're not. You're not.
Lizzie said, "Can't believe I missed a win." We'll probably get thumped by Harrogate now. Yeah, so we've got Harrogate next Saturday. There will be a match day vlog for that one, but yeah, a good result on the way on the road.
You were on your work due. That's better than going Rovers, surely.
Yeah, a decent works do as well. We'll take it. But yeah, decent result on the road. It's prevented us from going 3 defeats on the bounce. So it's nice to stop that rot and get back to winning ways. So yeah, happy with that. Any games that you guys want?
Yeah,
Grimsby.
There is. Yeah, Grimsby are doing really well. I saw them the other week. They impressed me. They only drew 1-1 with Stevenage, who were flying at the time. But the attack people, the attack teams, the fan base is really noisy and vociferous. And I wouldn't like to be. I mean, Donny got a fantastic win there. Don't get me wrong. That was a really impressive win. But not many other teams are going to get 3 points at Blundell Park. They're a good side. They're a really watchable, decent side. And Hurst is doing a good job there.
Yep. Doing really well. Quick question for you, lads. It's not EFL, but it's non-league related. What's your thoughts on Bostock going to Notts County and Andy Cannon going to Wrexham from Hull City?
Well, to be quite honest, it's money talks. They can't think about their careers at all. If they're going to drop 2 divisions to go into non-league, it can only be about the money. It can only. I said this when Paul Mullin went from went into long non-league to Wrexham. I thought, incredible decision. But obviously, they're throwing money around like confetti at places like Notts and Wrexham to try and get back in the Football League. It might work, but it's a very risky strategy in my book.
Liz has pretty much hit the nail on the head. So Bostock, I'm not sure if it would be money talks on that one. Obviously, I don't know how much is on at Notts County, but I think he was a decent earner at Donny.
Around Notts anyway.
I think he lives in Nottingham.
It would make sense then.
Yeah, because obviously he played at Forest for a bit, didn't he?
Because I know
been training at Forest.
Dyche is always. Sean Dyche is still in Nottingham. He lives in West Bridgford. And I think he's staying about and not gone into management yet because he wants the Forest job.
Yeah, possibly.
And I think he's probably waiting for that to come if it does. It's just an interesting one watching it. And like, I know people go, well, it's money talks. And like Ian said, but at the end of the day, that's the way football's going. You have to have the rich owners. And to Andy Cannon, if he's sitting down with his missus going, oh, I'm going to go play at Sully Hull. The hell you are, but I'm going to go play at Wrexham. You mean Ryan Reynolds? Yeah, we're off. Bye, I'm house hunting. See ya.
Yeah.
There's that side to it as well. It's like anybody who part of this Wrexham story and what's going on at the minute, you want to be part of it because it's an interesting story. It's interesting how it's going. Yes, you throw money at anything and it'll work.
If they win promotion, if Wrexham do go up and come back into the Football League, you just watch Sky. They'll have a season ticket. Suddenly, you'll get more League Two games and they'll all be involving Wrexham.
But
they'll take over from Salford City by being Sky's little darling club.
But at the same time, give Wrexham credit because they've managed to get non-league football a better deal with BT for streaming.
Yeah.
Because Wrexham has turned around and said, why the hell are we not allowed to stream our games and pay this amount of percentage? And because of them, everybody in non-league in the Vanarama have got a better deal now because they turned around and said, this isn't right. We should all have this amount of streaming, even though they probably know they're going up. So it's not like they turn around to the league and gone, up York, we're going up, we're not bothered. They put a new deal in place ready, even if they go up. And even if they don't go up, or if they do,
and that will have a lasting benefit, won't it? Yeah,
exactly. So it's not like they're just looking at it and going, "Sod you lot, we're going up." They care about other people.
Yeah. True enough. Well said. That. Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, you're right.
But yeah, on Bozzy, he can do one. he left us in summer and said that he wanted to play at an higher level. So
that reminds me of Mr. Sean Flair. I want to play in down south. Went to Hearts. There's a bloody big difference between down south and here, mate. Did you get your map the wrong way round?
Yeah.
Is Hearts south of Scotland? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But
it's Edinburgh.
It's not the down south he was on about.
Yeah. There you go. Didn't say we're south of which country, did he?
I can tell you what part of that down south he was on my middle finger.
But just before we finish off, we'll have a quick look at the league table. Obviously, not much change with the amount of games that were postponed. Hartlepool's win Friday night leapfrogged them.
Who would have expected that as well at Crawley?
Yeah,
who would have expected that?
I mean, Crawley had a horrible start to the season. They've started to find a little bit of form and pull themselves away from danger. These 5 down here, I worry for every single one of them.
Gillingham are down. I hate to say it. I don't even think a new manager coming in can save it.
I don't.
Is the takeover still happening? I've seen bits about it. It's uncertain, isn't it?
But they're doing brilliantly in the cup competitions, aren't they? Did you see that winning? Did you? Any of you watch the game with Dagenham? Did you see that winning goal? It was superb.
It's weird how they can get it right in the cup game, but in the league, they're just a different level.
Yeah.
The thing is, even if the takeover happens, it might be too late.
Yeah,
it might. I think so. Yeah.
You want that takeover to happen now, so they can spend some money in January.
I think the good thing with League Two, only 2 go down, and there's always there's only a point in it. So obviously that takeover needs to happen before January. So that.
But do we see Gillingham in the transfer window anytime soon? The last couple of signs you've seen they don't look like they're going to hit it on target, do they?
No. I mean, 6 goals in 20 games.
6 league goals. Good. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Very poor. I do worry for them, but it's not all.
I thought Harris in League 2 would be superb.
I'd expect him to be promoted, to be honest, at the start.
Me too.
Something's obviously not right there.
Yeah.
And we'll hopefully find out at some point.
Yeah.
Moving towards the top end of the table, no change. Leyton Orient still at the top, didn't play this weekend. Stevenage
got a point.
So didn't really help them out that much either. Northampton didn't play as well, but keep their spot in third. The playoffs, Barrow, Mansfield, Carlisle and Bradford. The result for Rovers pulls us 2 points within the playoff picture.
You just need a run.
Yeah. Yeah,
the problem is you're consistently inconsistent.
3 wins out of 5. It's promising. Beat Harrogate and you're right in the mix.
We are, but I think what we're seeing here is probably where we're going to finish. In all honesty, I think if we get playoffs, I think if we go up, we'll just be looking over a shoulder next season. I don't think we're in a position to go up. Obviously, I'd love to see the success of a promotion, but I don't want to be the equivalent of what Rotherham are between League One and the Championship, between League Two and League One. I'd sooner have another season in League Two, build a squad that can.
Do you know, after 10 seasons at New York Stadium, what I would absolutely love is a mid-table season somewhere. Because we just don't get it. We're either going for promotion or fighting relegation every single season. Yeah. And this season's no different.
No.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, we'll struggle to stay up. we will struggle to stay. If we do, we're going to have the same scenario again next season. Exactly the same because of the finances.
Yeah.
But if we go into League One, we do stupid things like get promoted again.
You're a club that actually could do with a takeover just so you can have that kind of thing. But the problem is, don't take this the wrong way, Ian. And I've been to Rotherham, it's lovely. How the hell do you sell Rotherham to a new owner?
Yeah, true enough. I agree with you. Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Before we end, if you're not voting on the Challenger door, please go do. It's so funny.
Yes, definitely do. We will give a shout out to that. Out of Context Chal on Twitter is doing fantastic work. He's currently put together a load of clips and called it the Chal on door, which I think is just absolute genius. Go on Twitter, Out of Context Chal. Have a look at it. It's so
funny.
Wonderful content that'll cheer your day up every single day on Twitter. But yeah, that brings us to the end of episode 17 of the EFL review, the 72 review. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you to Punkchef 41 and Ian Bradley for being part of the panel.
Hey, we've not done an hour yet. What's going on?
Close.
we're close to an hour, but I need oxygen and new lungs. So yeah.
Hey, JK, have you ever seen Bob Fleming on Fast Show?
I have.
Yeah, exactly like him.
Yeah. But no, on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching the 72 review. We hope you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to Punkchef 41, subscribe to Over the Bar, subscribe to me if you haven't already. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.